these are these are my top 10 films of 2023 Indian films. It's again an overview list. I'll have a proper list after this list, and then I have an international film list as well. There's a lot of international stuff to watch, but again, I've seen a few. I've not seen a few. I really have to watch everything and give a proper coherent list of both of them. But as of now, this is just an overview list that I really wanted to talk about. So let's just get into the honorable mentions first. There are a few honorable mentions that I really want to talk about, and then we'll get into the proper films of the year. So number one, Kira Kola. It's a Telugu film. It's a very funny film that falters itself towards the end. Maaviran, another great Tamil film which again falters itself towards the second half. Pareshan, a Telugu film which I really loved, but there's no coherence or there's no structure or there's no flow to it. It feels like there's a couple of vignettes that we have seen, which would have worked if it was character based, but it's not character based. It's very geographical in its making. Vignettes and vignettes and vignettes and vignettes in the film. And then there's Dasara, which is another Telugu film which I really loved, but again falters itself big time in the second half. It falls into so many cliches, it falls into a lot of cliches, and I really hated the cinematography of Dasara. I felt it was absolute. Portolel, a brilliant investigative psycho killer film. No, I wouldn't. I mean, the psycho killer word has become such a cliche. I really hate it, but the film itself it's a proper, clean, investigative drama, which is absolutely brilliant. But I didn't feel like there was a need to give a message in the end, which I really hated. But till then, the film was pretty solid with the acting and stuff. Again, Mad, another fun film. It's not shallow in its fun element. It deals with a lot of stuff with a lot of semi-comical tone to it, and it's very good. Good Night, another Tamil film, which is, oh god. So I really loved how, and it's one of my favorite films of the year. It's not in my top 10, but it's one of my favorite films of the year. To take something that is probably very insignificant in our lives, but show it in a convincing way that it's significant for a person. It's absolutely beautiful. It's very difficult to pull off, and it's absolutely very well done over here. And again, Ponniyin Selvan 2. Ponniyin Selvan 2 is Mani Ratnam's magnum opus. I really like the second part more than the first part because of how dramatic, especially the end confrontation between Aditya Karikalan and Nandini. I watched it thrice in the theaters and once in IFI, and with Ravi Varman in the audience, which was another great thing. So that's that. So now let's get into the actual list. At number 10 we have Salar. Oh god, okay. Salar is an absolutely brilliant film when it comes to masala film, because it's not masala in a way. It's senseless. It is senseless, but it has a lot of writing and politics, which is actually really good. I really liked how well the writing was, especially in the second half. The world building, I mean, to do that kind of a world building, it's very convincing, and it's very difficult to make it that convincing, especially. And you have mass moments like the interval shot, the reverence that the character gets in the second half. We see why he has that reverence, and it's very solidly put. Again, I've seen Ugram. I really liked Ugram, and I felt that this is better than Ugram. So at number 9 we have Hostel Huduguru Bekagiddare. Probably nahi. It is my favorite film of the year. It's not in my top 10 though. Sorry, it's not in my top 5. I think it is pretty flawless in the way it's made. It's when you see a film and you come out with the feeling like, okay, what is wrong with this film? Is there something wrong with the film? There's nothing wrong with the film. Many people complain about the length, but I really didn't feel like the length was something of a flaw. I really felt like it used its length pretty well, and the acting is brilliant throughout. Number 8, Sana. Sana is special for me in two ways, because one was the experience of watching it with the director, with the actors, with the editor. So it was a full house in IFI, and I had a conversation with the director after the film, and it was beautiful. The whole experience was very wholesome. Also the film itself, it's brilliantly made. It's very for the lack of a better word, it's very precise in the way it's made, and I really love that aspect of the film, because to make a film that how do I say so precise, again, the way, I'm not comparing the films, but it reminded me of how Bresson made A Man Escape, with the precision, with everything put in place properly. It felt like everything was supposed to be in place, and Sana felt like that film, because again, probably because it ends it ends in a very short span of time, also because it happens in a single day. We see a life crumbling down. Though I feel like it has a lot of inconsistencies, I really loved uh, the film in general as well. I in the whole scheme of things. Number seven, I have Balagam, a Telugu film. Is it melodramatic? Yes, but do I love it? Oh God, yes. I mean, it's melodramatic in a way that it's good. To see something that I'm not. I am pretty familiar with the themes in the film, coming from not probably that region, but somewhere in the vicinity of the geographical region. That's very well put and very well shown in the film, and I could relate to a few things in the film, which is really good. And I don't tear up that much when I'm watching a film by myself. In the theaters, I tear up a lot, but when I'm watching it in my home, I don't. But I actually teared up a lot of times during this film, and I really loved it. The performance is again spot on, and I've been following the director Venu for years now. I used to see him as a comedian, and now looking at him like this, it feels really good. At number six, we have Kadal, another iffy entrant over here. I mean, I saw the film with the cast members, which was pretty neat, and I really loved the film. I loved how subdued everything is, how subtle everything is. We see a relationship, but we don't see a relationship. I mean, oh God, to give that, to showcase tenderness in a way where it's not even like, they don't even in the frame, right? They don't physically come near each other, the two lovers in the film, but it's so well done. And the film offers a take which is not which is not shown much in films like these, the female side of it, or the other part of it, where how the other person is affected in a relationship, and it's beautiful. I mean, if you I'm not giving away any spoilers, I'm trying not to. This may seem very vague, but if you've seen the film, you'll understand what I'm talking about. At number 5, we have Animal. I mean, yeah. So at number 5, we have Animal. Animal is a beautifully brilliant exploration of a toxic man. I mean, it the way it explores with its excess and with its everything, with everything else, with itself. It's beautifully acted. It's written very well, actually. People are like, oh, the second half has flaws. I feel like it is a because see, the excess works for the character and the excess works for the film. There are people being murdered, there are thousands of people being murdered, but that is because of how extreme the characters are. Everybody is an extreme. I mean, nobody's sane in the film. His wife is extreme, he is extreme, his love interest is extreme, three of his villains are extreme, his cousins are extreme. I mean, the only sane people in the film have no say, and that there's a point to all of that. It's not just not deliberate, or to elevate, or to revere the hero. I mean, this wasn't even in the top 5 of my list, but after seeing the interviews, I actually was like, yeah, Sandeep knew what he was doing, and I added that film. At number 4, we have Vidudalai. I'm not going to talk much about this film, because if you see it like from a technical standpoint, I really didn't like the cinematography or the color grading or anything. But no, not the cinematography. I'm really sorry. The color grading of the film I didn't like. But oh God, not going to talk much about the film. It's At number 3, I have Saptasagar Dachayello, both side A and side B. I loved how different the two films were in its and in its visual language, because I actually happened to have a chat with the cinematographer, like on an Instagram DM. I asked him if he used different lenses, and he said, yeah, they used Hawk anamorphic lenses for the second part, and it actually shows a lot why it is that gritty in the way it's made, and it's, oh God, you see two lives going in two different directions, one ruining itself, and one goes to ruin itself, and then it gets better. So yeah, it's very well acted, very well written, very well scored, actually. At number two, we have 12th Fail. 12th Fail was such a surprise for me when I watched it in the theaters, because I remember ignoring this film because I thought, again, yeah, it's another village drama and whatever. And I feel really bad for doing that, because when I went on in the second week, the theater was relatively packed. And after the film was finished, I'm like, oh God, where was this? Where was I? Why didn't I watch it in the first week? Oh God, I would have watched it twice or thrice if I watched it in the first week. But the day I saw the film was the last day and the last show, and I feel really bad for it. Now that it's on Hotstar, I probably watch it again. At number one, the best film of the year, the best Indian film of the year, according to me, in my humble opinion, is Jigar Tanda Double X. I mean, what do I say about this film? The romantic portrayal of cinema in the film really connected with me, because that's how I see cinema as well. And it 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 focuses on a very um, less, I wouldn't say less talked about, but a very nuanced take on a subject that can be one sided. And it's beautifully done, beautifully acted, beautifully scored. Everything is beautiful of the film. I don't want to talk much more about a few films over here. There are a few films that I really want to talk a lot about. There are a few films that I really don't want to talk anything about, because it'll ruin the magic of the film. So yeah, so that's that. So these are my top 10 with some honorable mentions. I'll be watching a few films again, and I'll be making another list. Yeah, so thank you for the video.